everyone, welcome once again to Yorkshire Gamer and another Troops on Parade feature, and this is a follow-on from the one I did a week or so ago on the Papal and French Army at Mentana, and today I'm going to cover the Garibaldi Army. This was used for the Battle of Mentana game, but as we go through the units there are a few that probably weren't there, definitely weren't there, however you want to describe it. The information available on Garibaldi's army, especially in 1867, is very limited. He wasn't a country. He borrowed a lot of stuff, in inverted commas. There's no pay records, all those sorts of things that you would find with a nation. Uniforms were very, in inverted commas, uniforms, and would often just be a red shirt, but there were other uniform or other colours of uniform dress in the army, and we'll see some of those during the course of this video. So this is an overlook of the army. I overestimated, I said 600 figures with the Papal French. It's more like 500. I got my sums wrong, and this is just slightly bigger, so about 550 I think this army is. And we'll get the camera down and have a look at some of the units and bases involved. First up is the big man himself, Garibaldi, and done this 3-figure base or 100mm diameter circular, which is my kind of go-to size for army commanders. Just get a little more light on it. So 3 figures on the base. This figure at the back, the trumpeter, is from the Perry Triple Alliance range. Can't imagine, remember exactly. Oh, which pack? No, I do apologise. That is a British Interventionary Force trumpeter from somewhere. Perry's definitely, but I can't remember the exact package. The big man himself, Garibaldi, is from Shako 64. So if we do the old size comparison there, Perry's are a little bit bigger, but that kind of, it looks all right to me. That kind of just looks like somebody on a slightly bigger horse. And the standard bearer is a Perry's ACW plastic cavalryman. So that's the big man himself, and then we'll just move him out of the way and bring the artillery forward. Garibaldi had very little artillery at Mentana, and what it was probably, in inverted commas, borrowed. So I've got these 3 guns models, which represent about 6 or 7 model guns at the actual battle, and these are from Shako 64 again. And I probably would have used more of their figures if I didn't have an issue. There was then, and this is this is post-Brexit, but the Italian postal service has never been good, pre or post-Brexit. So I have bought more of them recently, but for this particular project, this and Garibaldi were the only 2 that I really used. Fine figures, very nicely detailed. The only niggle I would have, if you look down this guy here, they're slightly flat. They've got a flattish look to them. Again, if you look at the chap here, there's just, they're not fulled out, but they might just be slim. so there we go. So that's Garibaldi. That's Garibaldi's artillery, and there's very little kind of special sauce, if you like, with this army. It's a very, very infantry-based army, and the only other unit of non-infantry stuff is these guys. And again, this is mix and match with whatever I can get my hands on. So these are ACW plastic Perry's cavalry for the guides of Garibaldi. Somebody's brought figures out for them now, bugger. But at the time, this was the closest I could get to them, and there are 2 uniforms for the guides. There is this one, the earlier red one. By the time of Mentana, we probably would have gone to a grey guide uniform, very similar to that chap there with the flag. But I just fancied having them in the red. It's a 6-figure unit. It doesn't really do anything. It would have been for scouting, etc., rather than a particular, an effective combat unit. So that is the special stuff. So let's go and have a look at the bulk of the army, which is infantry, and there are 5 brigades of 4 battalions, each of 24 figures. Here's the first brigade, and these are Gringo 40 figures. They are larger than other figures, and I'll do a comparison as I did with the other Papal French Army and the different manufacturers within there. But the flags, I forgot to mention, are from Flags of War. Ian there did a cracking job on getting these done for me, and they are available for the wider public. This is Istvan Tour, and the officer figure itself is from Shako 64. They do some nice personality figures, and the standard bearer is a Perry's ACW plastic figure, cavalry figure. And again, I've gone for this flag matches the flags in the battalions in the brigade. This is flag of the Two Sicilies. Garibaldi didn't have that flag. Well, I've got loads of pictures of Garibaldi carrying that flag. So this is on-table recognition for people who don't know anything about the Italian Risorgimento. And believe me, despite what the internet says, that's a lot of people. So these figures are, if you've not seen this before, these are based on 60 by 60 bases. Extended frontage is to give protection to the rifles or rifle muskets of the soldiers or the models involved, and you can see there already this has done 9-10 display games, and we've lost a bayonet there, and you will notice as we go along through the units that there is missing bayonets, etc. Throughout them. So I'm just going to do shaky cam for a second, and do apologise for just, there we go. So front unit, what I've tried to do with these, Garibaldi's army would have been a complete mismatch of uniforms, and I doubt very much they would be exactly the same trouser colour in a unit, for example, and hat colours, etc. So I've done kind of a theme in each of the units to enable them to recognise them as a unit. So you can see there we've got creamy white trousers, blue kepi with red facing, and then the one behind we've got kind of a brown trousers with a plain red kepi with green facings, and then we move on again, plain red kepi, brown trousers, no facings, and then the very end we've got grey trousers and plain kepis. So that is that particular brigade. In front of the next brigade, I've got a couple of skirmish units that I kind of distribute between the army. And this first one that we're looking at here is the green one in front is a Bersaglieri unit. And I don't think I've put those on. No, I haven't. I think the Bersaglieri of Milan, if I remember correctly. I've not written it on the bottom of the base. And 2 figures on 60 by 30. Again, as I said in the last video, if I was going to redo this, I would definitely increase the depth of those. And then we move behind into the next load of skirmishers. And again, I haven't written the names on these, so I may need to look this up and put it in the notes because I've forgotten. And these are Gringo 40 figures and specialised to a particular unit, which again, I can't remember. So I do apologise, but we've got 2 lots of 16, the other lot of Bersaglieri are in the other part of the table. So let's have a look at Brigade 2. Brigade 2 is commanded by John Dunn, and I call it the White Brigade for obvious reasons because all the units are in white. And this is the command base and a couple of figures from the British interventionary force that, in inverted commas, could have gone to support the Confederacy in the American Civil War. And we've got the initial Italian flag here with the crown above the Two Sicilies banner. Apologies if I'm getting this wrong. You're getting this wrong. I'm doing this off the top of my head. I never do scripts, as you can probably tell. So there we go. That is the brigade commander for those guys. And then we're going to get the rest into focus and look at these battalions. The first two battalions are from the Dun Brigade. Now, the Dun Brigade was raised by John Dunn, who was a British gentleman adventurer, spy, in Palermo, and he joined the Garibaldi cause and outfitted a number of units with his own money, which may have come from the British government, and British equipment and British rifles, Enfield rifles, etc. And this is my representation of them. They are from the British interventory figure range again, and the reason I'm using those is because of this specific fatigue cap, forage cap that they wore, that I was able to paint convert into what we've got here. And this kind of shows here a little bit better detail why I'm doing the extended bases. These are metal figures. After 8-10 playthroughs, all these would be bent, all the paint on the rifle muskets would be cracked and broken, so I have kept them like that. So that's the Dun Brigade, and behind them, I'll just do shaky cam for this, is another 2 units in white, which are the Milan Brigade, again separately raised in Milan and moved down to Sicily to support Garibaldi in 1860 in the original expedition of the 1000. Uniforms very, very unlikely to be at Mentana, but this is a army for Garibaldi for the whole of the Risorgimento. I doubt anybody's got an army this big for Garibaldi as it is, and I'm certainly not doing an 1860 army and an 1867 army as well, so there is a little bit of a crossover. But that is Brigade 2. Brigade 3 is Gringo 40s again, red shirts, Gringo's 40s, and the commander here is Giacomo Medici, and again with these chaps, they get a bit more light on it. I do apologise about that. The command figure himself is a named personality figure from Shako 40, and the standard bearer is for an ACW Perry's miniature. So you're familiar with these guys now, but I shall just move in a little bit so you've got an idea of the 4 units in this particular brigade. And these have got kind of a sky blue trousers with flat red cap, no facings. Then moving down the list, or down the units, the next one is very similar but has got green facings. Then we've got one with a kind of canvas colour trousers, no facings, and that is very similar to the units behind. There will be a difference, I just can't for the life of me see what it is at the moment. So that is the 3rd brigade. Brigade 4 is kind of the weird brigade, if you like, or the mixed brigade, and this is the command base for this is a straightforward ACW plastic figure that I had spare. There was no particular general for this one, and there are 2 units of skirmishers here in front, and the parent battalions for these we will see very, very shortly. So we've got one with a brown uniform and kind of a khaki trousers, and then we've got these guys which are kind of classic ACW really, with green facings, red cappies. Do like the look of those. So we then move on to the famous stripy battalion, and lots of people like this when I put it up initially. All these battalions are plastic ACW figures from Perry's, with kind of a paint conversion, and this is the Vacchieri battalion, and got striped like pyjama tops. if you go to Shako 64 website, they sell some absolutely brilliant, basic but brilliant pamphlets on uniforms of the Risorgimento, and they do English versions and they also do them as PDFs, so you can get an English version to your computer in seconds and be painting away on these guys. So just move the Vaccieri out of the way, bring forward the next battalion, and these are the blue with green facings that we saw with the skirmishers a moment ago, the Bolognesi. That's their real title, and I really like this one. I've done this one as a kind of firing line with some of the skirmish figures from the skirmishing ACW box set, and really like the look of that one. So just concentrating a little bit more on these than I have on the previous ones, because these are very different. This is the Brown Battalion, as you can see. This is the Medici Battalion, and kind of a turd brown with red facings, and again, I really do like that unit. And then finally from the Others Brigade is these chaps at the back that I'll slide forward for you now. And these are the Malanchini Battalion, and they've got kind of a mid grey blue top, white trousers. Again, these units, these 4 units were involved with Garibaldi throughout various stages of his military campaigns, and I've brought them together in a battalion so that I've got enough troops for Mentana, but also options for earlier battles as well. And there were people out there going, "They went at Mentana." Put your 1,000 figures on the table that represent Mentana and tell me you've got it all completely accurate. Well, there we go. It's one of them weeks this week. Everyone's been an arsehole on the internet, and I don't know why. Anyway, last brigade coming up. Last brigade. This is another brigade of Gringo 40s. So 12 battalions of Gringo 40s. 6 battalions of ACW Perrys, and 2 battalions of British Interventionary Force figures, if you're talking about the figures on their own. This is, again, Shako 64 for the personality, ACW Cavalryman for the standard bearer. And then, as before, we've got 4 battalions of Gringo 40s. You should be familiar with these by now, as I do apologise with the lighting as we go through. Firing line with green facings, white trousers with red stripes on them, which I have seen in photographs but I can't find anymore. So if you're looking for a reference for them, I don't know where it is. Then we've done some in like a dark blue grey trouser. Then that 3rd battalion is mixed trousers and all hats, and then at the back we've got brown trousers and plain kepis. So that is the Garibaldi army. So there you have it. There is a whistle-stop tour of the Garibaldi army for the Risorgimento, and I hope you enjoyed that. 20 odd battalions to get through, plus a few extras, lots of different figures used, and a great army to own. And I may well expand it in the future and do the Battle of Volturno, but I've got a lot of bourbons to paint before then, so the Biscuit Wars may be coming in the future. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't already, please subscribe to Yorkshire Gamer, and let's get those subscriber levels rising. We've just gone over 3,000. Love it to keep growing and growing, and thank you for watching. Until next time, so they